for the infusion of positive energy into the lives of single Latter-day Saints everywhere. This is Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back, peeps, to the wonderful, splendiferous Christmas seasoned episode of Joy in the Journey Radio. I am Lance, your host for Joy in the Journey Radio. Today is the 8th of December, 2021, and this is episode number 206. See, count them. 200 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6. Oh, come on in. There you go. 6. There you got the 206. The gift of full attention. The church's Light the World tradition continues this year with love. Love. And I can't say enough about how much I love the suggested action for today. The suggestion, entitled Full Attention, reads, Jesus loved people enough to give them his complete attention. Today, commit to putting your phone down whenever someone's talking to you. I just love that. I mean, simply putting your phone down when talking to someone seems like such a small act, and yet the effect this small act has can powerfully overwhelm. It brings to mind the scriptural teaching that by small and simple things are great things brought to pass. Clearly, the Savior understood that power. His ministering example teaches all the love generated when we give our full attention to others. Indeed, one of the greatest gifts we can give to others is the gift of full attention. Society today hungers for attention, so much so everyone seems scrambling after it. Whatever new trick can potentially secure the attention of others finds its way onto the to-do list of many seeking to capture attention for their own gain. And these actors, feeling a scarcity of the attention they desire, saturate us with attention demand overload. Combine that situation with the addictive nature of social media, and it's not hard to understand why people give more attention to their phone than to people around them. Many take full advantage of the dopamine hits social media networks are designed to generate. And far too many of us surrender our agency to the addiction we hold in our hands and carry with us wherever we go. We've discussed before on this program the mediocrity this life on autopilot creates. We break free by living in the moment, making conscious choices to move in the direction we determine, and not just where the impulse of addiction would drive us. That's what I love about the suggested action for today on the Light the World calendar. It encourages us to make a conscious choice to break free from impulse and move in a direction we consciously choose. That conscious choice unlocks the real power of giving our full attention in our interactions. So doing sends a clear message. Out of all the choices I could make in this moment regarding where to place my attention, I choose you. This is part of why the gift of full attention is truly a gift of love. The other part deals with the basic human needs we all have to feel loved, needed, and belonging to something greater than ourselves. Putting down your phone and giving your full attention to others essentially tells them they are preferred. And realizing that preference generates in others the feeling of being loved, needed, and part of something bigger. Now, consider what happens when we don't make that conscious choice to give full attention. We tell others through our actions we choose something else over them, that something else is preferred, and that preference generates in others feelings of not being loved, needed, or part of something bigger. I still remember the love generated during a single adult conference 12 years ago when an attendee chose to give me full attention. Our exchange lasted only 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And yet the influence of that seemingly small choice in how to spend 5 minutes has lasted 12 years. And the end is not in sight. The gift of full attention is truly a gift that keeps on giving. And we need not limit the power of that gift to just the one small act the Light the World calendar suggests for today. We can expand our influence even further by practicing active listening in all settings. Our society suffers substantially from a lack of listening. People think listening means simply hearing the words other people say. Meanwhile, they look for chances to inject what they want to say into a conversation. But real, Active listening involves hearing what others say with the intent to understand them. Instead of looking for breaks to project our own selves onto others, we can use those same opportunities to try to understand others. In so doing, we help others feel loved and thereby expand the power the gift of full attention can provide. So today and every day, let's give more of the gift that keeps on giving. Let's give the gift of full attention. When we do, our seemingly small act of surrender to love will invite others to do the same. And when they do, the cycle will continue, resulting in a better world filled with the light and goodness of love. And that will bring more joy in our journey. Back in a moment.
Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back from that break, peeps. We are here in the JJ Zone, Join the Journey Radio, today talking about the latest suggestion from the Light the World calendar, which for today is giving people their full attention. Now, like I said in the monologue, I just can't say enough good about the suggestion. I mean, when I saw this, first of all, I saw it instantly, liked it. But the more I thought about it, the more I really, really like the suggestion. And, as I explained in the monologue, there's so much saturation in our society of people who are vying for attention. Everybody seems to want our attention. And it's not really anything new. I mean, back in the olden days, before we had all of this technology, go back like 100, 200 years ago, people still had this drive to capture attention from other people. But the way in which, people try to capture attention was in some ways different just because they didn't have the technology that we have today. And so you see, urban centers that are littered with advertisements. Every space that could be used to advertise a product, had advertisement on it. And, today, not so much, because there are other outlets for advertising. And so you don't see that so much today. Technology has actually changed the way we try to grab people's attention, but it really hasn't changed the need that's people have to garner attention. And you see, like, social media is really indicative of this. All this participation is so many people that are on social media. You can see what they're doing, see how they feel about themselves, see what their real purpose is for being on social media by what they post. Seriously, I mean, you can tell the people who are virtue signaling and trying to get some sort of attention to say, yes, I belong in this group. Or you can see people who are posting things that are clearly intended to validate their sense of self-worth. There's so much, effort being put in to garner attention. And it's all about, getting some sort of personal gain. And don't think that, people that have business interests aren't doing the same thing. They're leveraging social media networks to increase their financial profits. So, everybody seems to have this, intense interest in capturing our attention. And social media has made it so readily available to everyone that now we are saturated with attention demand overload. It's one thing, say, like, go back to like the early 20th century, walking in, say, someplace like New York City. I mean, you can see advertisements plastered on all the walls, down all the alleys of all the buildings. I got that. That's great. But that doesn't really lead to attention, attention demand overload, because I control when I'm walking down the street in New York City and I control where I walk. So and I can kind of look to where I want to do. We have some of the same, choices here in the modern day with social media. but the choice is just not to participate. So the analogy for 100 years ago would be choosing just not to walk outside. Just don't go out. I mean, that's really the analogy, because if you go into the social media stuff, and this is one of the reasons why I'm not real big on social media, is because you're just saturating yourself with all these people who are just vying for your attention. On, the attention is, well, let's say, I don't want to say that the need these people are responding to is illegitimate in any way, because really they're all responding to just a basic human need we all have. We all want to feel loved. We all want to feel like we're needed. We all want to feel like we belong to something bigger than ourselves. And so, yeah, I mean, it it's understandable why you see all these people scrambling for attention. But when you combine the social media networks, this attention demand overload that people are giving us through the social media, combined with the way the networks are designed to give you dopamine hits and be addictive. Oh my goodness. It leads to just this disastrous situation that a lot of us find ourselves in, which is a mediocre life, because you spend all of your time trying to get validation. You spend all your time trying to get financial profit. You spend all of your time trying to get this attention for whatever reason you want to get your attention for, only to find in the end you're not really that fulfilled. Because see, your focus is on getting, when your focus really should be on giving. That's what I love about, the suggestion from the Light the World calendar for today. When you put down your phone and actually, say to people, "Hey, I'm going to give you my full attention." I have to say with words. You're actually saying it with your actions when you put down your phone and you're actually listening to them. I mean, and actively listening to them. Like I was saying in the monologue, don't just listen to figure out where you can insert your, ideas and your thinking and your contribution into a conversation. Instead, focus on, how can I understand better who this person is and how this person feels and what this person thinks. Try to make people feel understood, because that will help them to feel love. When people feel understood, they're much more likely to feel loved by those who understand them. And that's what we really want to achieve. We want to achieve this understanding. We want to achieve this state where people feel loved. That's what we really want to come after. And that's what the Savior showed us by his example. I mean, every time he ministered to someone, first of all, he's ministering to someone individually. It's really hard to give your full attention to multiple people at the same time. It's really hard to do that. So, focus in on just one person, the interaction with one person, and give your full attention to one person. And, it may be that when you're in those group situations, you have to switch, where you give your full attention to. So it's like, a game of musical chairs or taking turns, where your attention has to take turns with people when they're speaking. Try to understand where everyone's coming from, try to understand who they are, what they really think, what they really believe, what they really feel, and try to understand them. There's too much focus on trying to divide society and push us all into, different tribes where, if you're a member of my tribe, then it's insta love. You can do nothing wrong. If you're not a member of my tribe, then it's insta hate. You can do nothing. You can do nothing good. You can do nothing right. Everything you do is bad, wrong, evil. We gotta get away from the society. The way we do that, the way we go against that grain, is by doing the exact opposite. Instead of dividing people, let's bring people together. Instead of rejecting people who aren't members of our tribe, let's go outside the borders of our tribe and let's interact with people and let's minister to people one on one. And, let's try to understand, who they are. And we're not necessarily going to agree with them in the end, but, we'll see them more as the children of our Heavenly Father. And I think that's what our Heavenly Father wants for all of us. He wants us all to see one another more as his children. And, these tribal tendencies that, really are part of the natural man and the natural woman, it's natural mindset thinking. It's really what it is. That's just going to tear us apart. And it's just going to lead to a society that's just um, not much of a society. I'll say it that way. So in this Christmas season, in this time of joy and giving, let's give to each other a gift that will keep on giving. Let's give each other a gift of love, a gift that really says love. And, you know, there are a few gifts that are going to say that more fully and more readily than the gift of full attention. So, today and every day, and not just through the Christmas season, but I mean every day, let's go out there and let's actually start this habit of giving people their full attention when they're speaking to us or when we're speaking to them. The relationships go both ways. It's a two-way street. It's just not just about the one side. It's got to be about both sides. So, yeah, let's do that. Let's start giving full attention. I'm coming to a break here. I want to go and take the break now before I start getting into the real meat of the next thing I want to get into. So we're going to take that break and hang on, peeps. There's more excitement in this episode of Joy in the Journey Radio. On the other side of the break, I will see you there.
Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back, Pete, from that break. We are here at the JJ Zone, Joy in the Journey Radio. Today, talking about the suggested action for today from the church's Light the World calendar. And that action is give people your full attention when you're talking to them. Put down the phone and just, actually be in that moment. There's so much here. I mean, you talk about being in the moment. How do you live in the moment without being in the moment? And how are you going to be in the moment when you're interacting with someone if you're not giving that person your full attention, if you're not giving your full self to that moment? This is where the real joy in daily life comes from. It's by giving yourself completely to that moment and making conscious choices in the moment about the direction that you're going to take. That's where the joy comes from, because as we've talked about time and time again here on the program, happiness is giving your all to all the right things for you. Giving your all to all the right things for you. Yet one of those things that I think is right for everybody is this gift of full attention that we're talking about in the program today. When you give this gift and you give your all to giving this gift, that's where happiness can be found. Because, see, your focus is on other people. Your focus is on helping others. And that is just that's the key. That really is the key. You look at what is this gift actually doing? And we touched on this in the monologues. What is this gift actually doing? This gift is actually touching on the essence of true ministry. Think about it. I mean, when you give the gift of full attention, what you're really giving is people permission to feel loved and wanted and needed, and to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. And that is just a wonderful gift that you can give to other people, because it addresses a basic human need that we all have to be loved. So when you actually take the time, make a conscious choice, put down the phone, and actually give your full attention to people that you're interacting with, what a wonderful gift of love. Because as we talked about in the monologue, what you're really saying, and people are very quick and clear at picking this up. What you're really saying is, out of all the choices I could be making about where to give my attention, I'm giving it to you. And it's that recognition, the recognition of that choice and seeing it play out is what helps people to feel loved. It's what helps people to feel needed. It's what helps people to feel like they're a part of something bigger than just themselves, to feel connected with other people. Because we don't really want to connect to people who make us feel unloved, who make us feel like we're not needed, we're not wanted, who don't help us to feel like, we're part of something bigger than ourselves. We don't want to connect with people who make us feel that way. We want to connect with people who make us feel the opposite, people who are actually filling our basic needs as human beings and basic needs as children of God. And that is why I call this gift of full attention the essence of true ministry. Because if you look at all the examples that we have from our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and Christmas, a wonderful time of year in which we celebrate Jesus Christ, let's look at his example. When he was ministering to people, he did so on an individual basis. So it's always one-on-one. So right there with that example, we see that when we give our full attention to people, we should be giving it to one person at a time. The importance of the one is something that he taught, not just in word, but also in deed. So in all of his interactions with people, it was always on individual level, one-on-one. And when he's interacting with that one individual, whoever that individual is, he's giving that individual his full attention. So in essence, he's ministering to that people, no matter what he's doing, right? Whether, he's healing the blind, you know, um, you know, restoring hearing in the deaf, healing the lame, teaching an important principle to change someone's perspective and help them open up more to the gospel. Uh, it doesn't matter what it was. Everything that he did when he was ministering to people, he was essentially doing it in a way that helped them to feel loved. Now, not everybody wanted to feel the love, because sometimes he's pretty outright. I mean, if you were one of those Pharisees or Sadducees, he had no problem calling you an adulterer. It didn't really help them to feel loved, because they took it the wrong way, right? They took it the wrong way. And if they would just, step back and just try to understand what he was saying to them, then things would have come out a lot differently. I think they would have had a much different result. And you would have seen a lot more Nicodemuses come out. People who are like, yeah, this guy, he's on to something. But we can't really come out and say because, we're too in love with, the adulation of men. We want people around us to, praise us. And so, they're not going to praise us if we come out for this rebel. I mean, some of the things he says pretty apostate, heretical. We don't. I mean, they want to stand up against the social pressure, and which I don't completely blame them. I mean, pressures of these types of pressures on social beings. I mean, this is a natural result that you get from it. It's to be expected. So, I don't completely blame them for doing that. But at the same time, as we discussed here on this program, the real joy in life comes as we step back, we recognize the influences that are upon us, and we make choices to act in our best interest. We make choices to go in the direction we want to go into. We make conscious choices, break out of the mold of habit, break out of this life on autopilot, and start living more in the moment. Start living more in this in this moment that we have from moment to moment. So if you give me a moment, I can put in some more moments in, and so I can just keep saying the word moment because it's kind of cool. I have a moment of moments where we just keep putting in moments. I'm sorry. I love language. I love words, and I just couldn't resist the moment. The door was open, and I just had to take it. But that's what it is. That's what living in the moment is, right? That's what living in the moment is. So when you see these moments come throughout the day, start changing the mindset. Start getting the habit together. And this is how you generate new habits, right? You just have to practice the new habit enough times to where it replaces the old programming in your head for, the old habit that you're trying to get rid of. And in its place is the new list of instructions, the new habit that you're trying to put in. And you just have to do it through repetition enough times for it to stick. That's just the way we're biologically hardwired. And so that's the way it works. So, hey, I got it, peeps. This is the way. I mean, it's really not complicated once you understand it. It's really not complicated. And when you start living in the moment, when you start making those conscious decisions, you start seeing life open up to you. And when you take this further step that we're talking about today, which is giving the gift of full attention, and you start giving people your full attention when you interact with them, in whatever way you're interacting with them, give them your full attention, and you will see a magnificent change come over the lives of people. And this seemingly small act, this is one of my favorite parts about this seemingly small act that doesn't seem to really, make much difference, makes a huge difference. A huge difference. As I said in the monologue, I can remember 12 years ago attending a single adult conference where, I had this interaction exchange with another attendee, and our conversation lasted 5 minutes, but because this person was giving full attention to me and to our exchange and helping me to feel loved and showing genuine interest in me as a son of God, as a real person and as an individual, that, that just, that touched my heart. And, that gift of love has stayed with me for 12 years. And the end's not in sight. Come back next year. I'm still going to talk highly about that moment that happened. It'll be, well, by the time you come to me a year from now, it'll be 13 years ago. And then 14 years ago, the next year. And then 15 years ago, the next year. And so, I mean, the end's not in sight. Do you see the power of this seemingly small, simple action? And it's a choice that we can all make, a choice that every one of us can make. That's the beautiful part about this, that all of us have this amazing power through the gift of agency to have this type of influence on all the people that cross our paths. Give people your full attention when you're interacting with them. Put down the phone. Seize the power within your agency to give a gift of love, a gift that keeps on giving throughout the years. Give the gift of full intention. Coming up to another break, and we're going to take that break now, and then before I want to get to some final thoughts to wrap the program up with. So stay tuned, folks. I'll see you there on the other side.
Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back, peeps. From that break, we are here in the JJ Zone, Join the Journey Radio, today talking about the latest suggestion from the Light the World calendar, which for today is to give people your full attention. Put down the phone. Take that phone, put it down. Put down the phone and give people your full attention when you're talking with them. I can't say enough about this. And and I just love the music that I'm playing over the break now. Don't get me wrong. I love all the music that I play over the break because it's my music. It's my show. Of course, I love the music, but I really love the music that I play over our episode in December, because December is Christmas, and Christmas season means Christmas music. Christmas is my favorite holiday, so of course I love Christmas music, and just gotta bring in that New York big band sound, So, you're gonna hear more about this as we go on. The music I'm playing today over the breaks, just absolutely, it's fantastic. I had to start off with what I'd say is arguably my favorite Harry Connick Jr. Christmas tune, "Song for the Hopeful." I just love that song, and the way they bring in the choir there at the end, just absolutely fantastic and powerful. That song tears me up. It really does. They're really well done with that, and it's appropriate for the program today because that's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about giving people the gift of full attention, which is a gift of love that engenders hope. Hey, this person is giving me full attention. This person is helping me to feel loved. This person is helping me to feel needed and wanted and helping to feel like I belong to something bigger. Maybe there's hope for me. Maybe there's hope that my ending can be better than my beginning. Maybe there's hope that my tomorrow could be better than my yesterday. What a wonderful gift to give people. What a wonderful gift. So, I couldn't help but play that, during the first break. I was just wonderful, you know. And the song I play next, good old Blue Eyes himself. You got to bring him in for Christmas. I mean, he's good to bring in all year round, you know. But the leader of the Rat Pack, just absolute classic. When you're talking about American music, just absolute classic. And I had to play a song from him, and here he is talking about Christmas memories. Christmas memories. Beautiful song, right? And what better way to create Christmas memories than to give people a gift of full attention. You're going to create some wonderful Christmas memories when you give other people during this Christmas season the gift of full attention. And you'll create wonderful memories all year round, when you just keep, just don't limit yourself to just the Christmas season, peeps. You want to keep giving that gift every single day. You want to get to a point where, all the interactions you're having with people, you're giving them your full attention. You want to get to that point. You're not going to get there overnight. It's going to take a lifetime, but yeah, that's that's the that's the target. That's the top of the mountain. That's the achievement that we want to say, yeah, that's ours. And that's where we're headed. That's where we want to go, And then over this last break, a song I was playing just then. Diana Krall, first of all, I can remember the first time I heard her voice. I was in a local record shop during my undergraduate days, and her voice came over the loudspeaker, and I was like butter in a microwave. I was, oh, who is that? Oh, I gotta get me some more of that. So yeah, you know, wonderful, wonderful vocalist. And her arrangements of not just these classic Christmas tunes that come from her Christmas album called Christmas Songs, but just arrangements of classical jazz tunes, because that's what she is. She's a jazz vocalist. She's a jazz pianist, jazz composer. She's a jazz star. I mean, that's her world. Jazz is her world, and she is just a monumental addition to the jazz world. I can't say enough about how talented this woman is. And so, her rendition, "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," a little slower than what we're typically used to, but she's got those jazz elements that come into it. And it just, to me, that New York sound of the big city is like, to me, that is like Christmas. Yeah, that to me, that's a part of Christmas. Even though I never really lived in the big city, and especially during Christmas time, it just wasn't me. But you know, just something about that imagery. It comes in, and it's just, to me, it just seems like it's a part of Christmas. Christmas is not the same without pulling that in. I don't know what it is. I certainly didn't grow up listening to jazz. That wasn't something that was played in my household growing up. So, I don't know where that came from, but man, I can't. So, I love that I can play this wonderful Christmas music during the breaks. So, if you're not hearing the music, peeps, you really need to get in with the live broadcast on Wednesday nights, because that's when I play the music. I don't have the license to play that music during the podcast that comes in later, whether it's a video podcast or just the audio format. I don't have the license to play the music outside of the live broadcast that we have on Wednesday night. And that license is terribly expensive. So if you want to hear the music, you got to tune in on Wednesday nights on the Join the Journey Radio Network. Find more information at jointhejourneyradio.com. So, all of this is centered around coming to this gift of full attention is what we're talking about today. This gift of full attention, which really, our society suffers substantially from a lack of listening. And when you give the gift of full attention, you really enable this active listening that we really should be practicing with each other. That you're trying to understand them. You're hearing what they say with the intent to understand where they are, who they are, how they feel, all this kind of stuff. You're trying to understand them. Notice I didn't say you're trying to understand what they're saying. You're trying to understand them. It's a very different mindset. Very different mindset. So when you're actually talking, interacting with people with the intent to understand them, well, that changes everything. Imagine the types of relationships you can build with people when you approach each interaction with the desire to understand the other person. And you combine that with the gift of full attention. Wow. Well, what a powerhouse. What an absolute powerhouse. Can you imagine the transformation that we could affect on this world? The goodness that we can introduce, the light, the love, the beautiful, wonderful splendor. We have the potential to do. Everybody has this choice. Like I was saying earlier in the program, everybody has this choice. We can all choose to follow this path and make this difference in the lives of others that will have an influence on them for good for years to come, because it helps to fill one of their basic human needs, which is the need to feel loved, the need to feel wanted, the need to feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves. That's really where we're at, right? That's really where we're at. So I can't say enough about that. I really cannot say enough about that. And it just, I can't say enough about it. And I'm at a loss for words. I love it. You gotta love it. You gotta laugh with yourself, peeps. Come on. Come on, laugh. It's funny. If you're not laughing, come on, start laughing. It's funny. Oh man. You gotta take the little joys that come along in life. This is how you have joy in your journey, peeps. Live in the moment. It's like I was saying earlier in the program. You gotta live in the moment. Give people your full attention. So yeah, just that gift of love is a gift that just keeps on giving. And that's what it is. That is, getting back to what I said earlier in the program. That is the essence of true ministering. So we can actually expand the power from this gift of full attention by not limiting this to just the interactions we have with other people. So it's not just a matter of like when we're like talking to other people or people are talking to us and giving full attention to the other person in that moment. Okay, that's good. But we don't want to limit it to that. We can actually extend the power of this gift of full listening beyond those borders to where it colors everything that we do, every interaction that we have. So, and this is really what ministering effectively is. Because the essence of ministering is making, let me say it this way, the essence of ministering is helping people to fill their needs. That is the essence of ministry. And when you give the gift of full attention, you're helping people to feel loved. You're helping people to feel needed and wanted. You're helping people to feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves. That's answering a basic human need. So the gift of full attention is playing right into the essence of true ministering. We think about like when you're having just simple conversations with other people, if those conversations are in some way helping them fill a need, you're ministering. We got to get out of this old, mindset that some of us have, from the old days of home teaching and visiting teaching. And we've got to start embracing a new perspective where, we get to this essence of what it really is. And what it really is helping people to meet their needs. So if I'm talking to somebody and helping that person to feel loved while I'm talking to that person, then I'm helping to meet that person's needs. That's ministering. We might not be talking about anything churchy. I'm still ministering to that person. When I give the gift of full attention, I'm ministering to that person. This is what we need to come back to. And so, if we were to like take a more expansive view of what ministering really is and include in that the gift of full attention, then the power that comes from giving the gift of full attention can expand out to where, we have even more influence over the people that cross our paths as we're going about our lives. We can have a larger influence to bring in more light and more love. What a wonderful vision. Why wouldn't we want that? Why would we not want that? Let's go out and do that. Let's go out. Let's start making the change today. If you want your life to change, you must change. And the change starts when you make a conscious choice. So let's today, search it right now, make a decision, make a conscious choice that says, I am going to begin taking in this habit of giving the gift of full attention. And I'm not just going to limit it to the Christmas season. I'm going to make a change to embrace a new lifestyle, a lifestyle of giving the gift of full attention. And when you give that gift of full attention, you help people to feel loved. You help them to feel wanted. You help to fulfill a basic need that they have. You are ministering to them. And, by so doing, you give them an invitation to go out and do the same. And when they do, then the cycle continues. And, we end up with a better world. And Lord knows we need all the light that we can muster against the darkness that seems to be growing all around us. So let's get busy. Let's start making that choice. Make the choice now, today. If you haven't already, make the choice today that you are going to embrace a lifestyle of giving the gift of full attention. And when you do, you're going to find a lot more joy in your journey. That's all the time we have today for Join the Journey Radio. I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope I was able to offer you something beneficial. I hope I was able to offer you something that helped you in some way. And if I have, I ask you to pay me back by paying it forward. Find somebody in your life who needs help. Find someone who could use the gift of full attention. Find someone who could use the gift of full attention and give that gift. Give that person your full attention. And you'll see what comes out of that, And don't forget, come back next week for another wonderful, splendiferous, joyous episode of Join the Journey Radio. So until next time, this is your host reminding you, there is joy to be had all along your journey. So take that joy, journey on.